The Brewers have a very difficult stretch to start the second half of the season and to finish out July. We'll talk about that and some players who really got to step it up here in the second half. And did anyone overachieve on offense? I don't know. We'll talk about that next. Coming up here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hope you all are enjoying your All-Star break. Too long, if you ask me. Too long, the 4 days off of the All-Star break. The All-Star game, it's irrelevant to me. It's the 4 days off. I'm itching to get back and to have some Brewer baseball. But it's funny. It's just this time of the year, you get in that habit of, okay, you're going to get home. You're going to watch the game. Oh, wait a second. No, the game's not on TV tonight. The Brewers don't play for a while. So Friday night. It used to be Thursday night. Now it's Friday night. The Players Association, I think they got that extra day off. And it's a long season. And people might say, well, it's a long season, but these guys are playing a game of baseball. But it is a mental grind. It is. It's 162 games. They've played the last 17 straight days. 8, 9, 10 hours being in the ballpark. Yeah, it is. It is a mental grind. They're making a lot of money for it, but, I get that. The Brewers have a very tough grind to finish off July here. I mean, July is going to be awfully, awfully tough for these guys. They have, beginning Friday, 3 with Cincinnati, then 3 on the road against Philadelphia, another playoff contender. Then they're home against Atlanta. The Braves are one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best. Then they're home again against Cincinnati, and then on the road with Atlanta. So they have 6 games with Atlanta here in the next 18 games. 6 of those are against Atlanta, 6 are against Cincinnati, and 3 against Philadelphia. So 15 of the 18, I got that right? Let me check my Martin Luther math here. 12 of the 15. 12 of 15 are against division-leading teams. How about that? And then the Brewers finish off the month. They got a game against Washington, and it carries over to August. But I think this is a telling stretch for this Brewer team. Telling stretch. They're 49-42. They're a game behind Cincinnati. And the Reds, can they hang in there? Now, the Brewers just took 2 of 3 from them. They had won 20 of 24 before playing the Brewers on an incredible run with Ellie De La Cruz. I know some Brewer fans are getting tired of hearing that name, but we're going to hear that name for several years to come. But the Reds are going to have to be tested as well. The winner of this division, I think, is going to finish between 10 to 14 games over the 500 mark. I'm going to say 88 wins is going to do it. 88 wins going to do it. Now, the Brewers are going to have to, out of this stretch here, this 15-game stretch, at least play 500 baseball. And some might say, well, you got to play better than that. Well, it's a tough stretch here. It is. They got some tough games. Now, that said, you're hoping that Cincinnati, during this 15-game run here that the Brewers are on, against 3 Cincinnati, 3 Philadelphia, 3 Atlanta, 3 Cincinnati, 3 Atlanta, you're hoping that the Reds don't go like 13-2 during that stretch. And I don't think they will, but that offense, and with the Reds, I mean, those guys are fearless over there. That's a good team. Now, their starting pitching, as we were talking about here on the show, not very good, but there's other parts of that team very, very good. But, yeah, if I can get 8-7 at least out of the next 15 games against those teams, I'll be okay, provided that the Reds don't, just don't go on fire. Anybody else in the division? No. I know people have come at me and said that the Cubs' run differential is better than everybody else. Cubs aren't competing for it. The Pirates aren't. And it sounds like the Cardinals are going to be sellers. That is great to see. Now, 2011, they were saying the same thing about the Cardinals, and they ended up getting in as a wild card team and winning the World Series and beating the Brewers in the playoffs. So we always say, don't count out the Cardinals. Although their GM appears to be that he says that we're going to be sellers already out of the All-Star break. Nice message to your fans. or is he trying to fire his own team up? I don't know. But there are several guys on this team that need to step it up. Disappointing first half. You look at these batting averages, and I'm big on batting averages because that's a good telltale stat. Okay, power numbers, RBIs, batting average. I still believe in all those. Okay, but the Brewers were floundering there for a little while. Okay, win one, lose two. They got off to that great start, 15-6, I believe it was, to start the season, and since then they're 2 under 500. Not bad. They recovered, and I don't know how they're recovering offensively, but it's their pitching, and in particular their bullpen. Their bullpen has just been fantastic. Can that bullpen keep it up at the second part of the season? Can Piamps continue to do what he's doing? Devin Williams got 2 blown saves. I like Piguero. They had to send Strzelecki down. Hobie Milner has been very good. He stepped in a couple of potholes, but he's been okay. So, he's that lefty out of the bullpen, that sidewinding lefty. So the bullpen, can that stay its course? And the starting pitching needs to be a little better. And the offense needs to be a lot better. We'll get to all that coming up here next. Chuck Freeman on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Didn't even introduce myself. I got right into it today. Sometimes I sit here at the mic and I just go. I'm so excited to get into it. But I forgot to tell you and introduce myself. Yes, Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, longtime sports talk show host in Wisconsin, morning sports anchor at 1310 WIBA in Madison, and longtime sports writer, sportscaster, sports reporter as well for AP Radio. Also, in addition to that, you've heard me do talk shows around the state for many, many years. I love the Milwaukee Brewers. They're my favorite team, and I think they're yours as well, because that's why you're here. You get the podcast on Google, Spotify, Apple, on all those platforms. We're on all the major ones. Just search for Locked On Brewers. We're the number 1 Brewers podcast on the network because of you guys, the everydayers out there, the everydayers that stick with us every day and watch us, listen to us, follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, FREIMUND. And of course, we're on video as well, YouTube. Catch us on YouTube. Go to search Locked On Brewers. You'll find us. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell there. It's going to alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. The show brought to you in part by Sleeper. You talk about gambling. I think this time of the year, these 4 days off here in the All-Star game, but I'm itching to get back and playing your fantasy and all that. And here is a great way. MLB Sleeper. Want a chance to win more money with less picks? Head to Sleeper. You can win up to 100 times your money on just 2 or more fantasy baseball picks. I was checking out this app the other day, and it's fantastic. If you can take players and win on daily fantasy baseball, it's one of the best. It's the best site I've seen. There's others out there, but this one, man, they offer a variety of stats: home runs, strikeouts, hits. You can pick up more, or you can pick on less. Choose up to 8 players if you like. 8 pick contests. Get your picks right, and you could win big. You think you know these guys like the back of your hand and what they're going to do each night? Give Sleeper a try. I know some guys, I've told about this, and they've lived in a different state, and they get Sleeper, and they said they are rolling right now. Swing for the fences with the Sleeper's picks. You can win again 100 times your money. Use the promo code LOCKEDON, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. You can place in-game contests, tons of stat categories. The dynamic payouts are all live, safe and fast withdrawals. Entries can be made 30 seconds or less. It's that easy. When you want to put your players in, it's easy to make. It takes 30 seconds or less. Sometimes, you go to other apps and all that, it freezes up and all that. You have to go a million steps. You don't know if your play's in. It's in at Sleeper. Sleeper Picks is the way to go. Again, currently operational in over 30 states. Check where it's available, because you're going to want to get a hold of this. Again, 100% instant deposit match up to $100 using the promo code Locked On. Head to Sleeper today and find out, man, how you can start winning here in the second half of the baseball season. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. We'll talk about who needs to step it up here in the second half of the season. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Your host, Chuck Freeman. Thank you very much. All you everydayers out there, follow me on Twitter, Chuck Freeman at FREIMUND. At the top of my list of players who need to step it up, Rowdy Tellez. I've been on this guy. I've been on him for quite a while, okay? But 12 home runs and a .213 batting average from the first base spot, a production spot, is not going to do it. I think they need to go out and give themselves another first baseman. Rowdy, yeah, we like our first basemen here in Wisconsin. We do. But we have not replaced Prince Fielder since he left in 2011. We have not had an adequate for. We thought we did a few times, but we haven't. And thought maybe Tellez, but he was picked up as a platoon guy, and that's all he is. Every day he's killing him at first base. His defense is fine, okay. But 12 homers, 231, and I know he's on the injured list with that forearm injury. But I find it hard to believe that that forearm is the reason why he's been in a 2-month slump. Because he went through a nice stretch there where he hit like 7 home runs in 2 weeks in May. But here we are, mid-July after the All-Star break, 213, 12 home runs. And Owen Miller, God bless him, and he's now in the Chinooks Hall of Fame. Good for him. And he's not a first baseman. But he's playing first base because you got to get Rowdy out of there against lefties. You got to get Rowdy out of there, period. And Owen Miller is holding his own offensively. Tellez needs to step it up. I think we're starting to see Willy Adames turn the corner a little bit. Yeah, 213, 16 home runs, but he started to show that power bat right before the All-Star break. Started to show it again, okay? Him, I believe it. He's given us pretty good defense at shortstop. Willy Adames, I believe in. He is going to turn it around. He, I do. Tellez, I don't. You're going to have to live with Bryce Terang going through the rookie struggles at second base. He's batting 207. He went through that 1-for-41 slump. One of the best defensive second basemen the Brewers have ever had. I think Jim Gantner, to me, is the all-time best defensive second baseman. But Bryce Terang, the range, the arm, I love it. Yes, he has saved a team a few times. But offensively, he hit that grand slam early in the season. I think it was opening day. But, man, a trip down to the minors. But going to have to live with that unless they do go out and get themselves another second baseman. But I doubt that. Third base, Brian Anderson, really good defensively at third base and at right field. 229 batting average, single digits in home runs. Can't live with that. Yeah, make some plays. Make some really good plays. Had a big error last week in a loss. The game that Devin Williams blew the save. But 229, no. God, look at this infield. Tellez, 213. Terang, 207. Adames, 213. Anderson, 229. You would think this team would be one of the worst teams in baseball. Okay, outfield. Again, Christian Yelich. What can you say about Christian Yelich? It's just, let's keep it going. All right. I know there's been articles and we've talked about this on the radio, but Christian Yelich is back. I'm not putting any pressure on him. He's not putting any pressure on himself, certainly. And just want to keep it going. Like to see the power numbers increase, but, he's batting 284. Still a far cry from the 330s he used to hit with his team and the power numbers. Outfield, again, Anderson in right field, Perkins in right field, Tapia in right field. I don't know. Perkins shows flashes that he belongs. Tapia has done it before on the major league level. Just don't expect that guy. He's not an everyday player. Brewers need to do better in right field, too. Some of these other guys, Winker, I'm at wit's end with him. Urias is down in the minors, hitting 145. Monasterio probably should still be down in the minors, although he's given them some nice games this year. To me, the catchers have been the best part, my favorite part of this team. Contreras and Caratini. God, the eye test, the Freeman eye test says both of those guys have come up with big hits and home runs at times. Contreras has got 9 home runs, and I feel like every one of those is in a clutch situation. Like Contreras is hitting a home run with the team up or down 9-2. It just seems like Contreras always comes through, and Caratini as well. Both of these guys. And Contreras has been so good, better than advertised at DH or at catching in the defensive department. And Caratini's been good too. So I love the catchers right now. Contreras and Caratini. That 1-2 punch is one of the best that we've had in a while. Okay. But I feel like that's one of the more productive spots on the team. Certainly it's not anybody in the infield. Outfield, no. Yelich, maybe. But Caratini and Contreras, who would have thought both of those guys would combine to be real productive in that catcher spot? The pitchers. The pitchers are carrying this team right now. We're going to talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. On the Locked On Podcast Network, we are your team every day. The Brewers and Cincinnati Reds in a first of a 3-game series coming up on Friday night, 6:10 with that broadcast on SiriusXM, the SXM app. Search Brewers, and you'll find all 162 of the Brewers and Reds. Thank you, everybody, for joining us every day on the Locked On Podcast Network. Google, Spotify, Apple, we're on all the major ones. Download us there. Get us on YouTube. Go to YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Once you find Locked On Brewers, hit that bell. That's going to alert you every time you find we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. All right. Let's talk about another great sponsor. And I've been wearing the Bird Dogs shorts around. Although today in Wisconsin, you had to wear the shorts with the long sleeve shirt, but the shorts are so comfortable and so stretchy, and they fit you just right. You know, you want shorts, especially, if you put on a few pounds over the winter, you want shorts that stretch a little bit, and these do it. Those normal khaki shorts that you buy at the department store are not good. The Bird Dog stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, and they give you a truly sculpted look. And especially their golf pants. They don't call them golf pants, but I love, like in a day like today, when it's in its 50s in Wisconsin, you're going out and golfing, you're wearing the Bird Dogs pants because they're stretching. When you're doing something athletic like that, like playing golf, the Bird Dogs pants, trust me, I wore them religiously in May and June out there. And then now wearing the shorts, the khaki shorts, they do so many things better than the average pair of shorts that you're going to buy out there. They also use an anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. And go to birddogs.com, Locked On MLB. Enter the promo code Locked On MLB for your free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com, Locked On MLB. Promo code Locked On MLB, your free Yeti-style tumbler. It is awesome, and I'm telling you, it's going to keep your cold drinks cold and your hot drinks hot, that Yeti tumbler. But your Bird Dogs, especially those shorts, in the summertime, you're not going to want to take them off. You're going to be wearing these when cold weather comes, too. That's how comfortable they are for going out or around the house. I wore mine today in the 55-degree weather with the long sleeve shirt, and Bird Dogs made me feel so good. And again, it stretches and it fits and it's form-fitting, and it makes you feel good if you got stuff you're moving around and you're, or if you're playing golf or whatever, you wear them when you play golf as well. I'm Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. We'll talk about that pitching staff, which has been great so far. That's next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Your host, Chuck Freeman here. That starting rotation. Hauser, Burns, Woodruff is coming back. Ray, Miley, Tehran. I mean, you can't argue with what some of these guys are doing here in this rotation. I mean, the Brewers have gone through over 50, I think 51 players on their roster this year. And this is what the Brewers do. This is, as an organization, they DFA guys, they bring the guys down, they send them up, they bring them down, they send them up. But Corbin Burns was an all-star. He did not have an all-star year. Didn't appear in the game. And, he's 7-5. He's had some good, some bad. More walks this year than I thought he'd have. I mean, 2 years ago, he was walking nobody. He's got 39 walks. Freddie Peralta. I feel like Freddie's pitched better than his 5-7 record. I know he's had a couple of blow-ups, but Freddie's going to be just fine. Colin Ray, 5-4, 8 innings pitched, an ERA of 4.71. As I've been telling you all along, he is what he is. Offense better come when Colin Ray's on the hill. Wade Miley has been their best pitcher. You could argue he should have been. He should have been the all-star. 6-2, quality starts, had a couple of snags right before the all-star game, but he bounced back in his last start, and he has been great. A 3.06 earned run average. Guy they signed in a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. Bargain basement that worked out for the Milwaukee Brewers. And you could argue that he's had his best years when he's been with the Milwaukee Brewers. Of course, last he was here in 2018. Adrian Hauser. Adrian, his ERA, 3.68. Seems like it's a lot higher than that. But he's had a couple of quality starts. I just like him better out of the bullpen. Julio Tehran, he's had 2 bad starts now. And he hasn't pitched a while. And let's see where he's pitching in this series. He's not even pitching in this series. It's been a while since he's pitched. It's been a while since Julio has pitched. Let's see when the last time he pitched a ball game was. July 3rd. He hasn't pitched a game since July 3rd. They're missing a spot. He didn't pitch any of those games in Cincinnati, at home against Cincinnati. And they would have got to a spot if there was another game or two. But they reset the rotation with the All-Star break. And, man, he's going to go a long stretch here, at least 2 weeks without pitching a game. But, again, his last 2 starts prior to his previous 6, after his previous 6, were not that good. I'll be curious about his start. Nothing from Lauer, as we know. Eric Lauer, Ashby. Can't give a grade on either one of those guys. The bullpen, spectacular. Devin Williams, told you he was going to be an all-star back in April. Deserves to be an all-star. Fantastic, Devin Williams. Devin Williams is great. Bryce Wilson. Oh, I was trashing him early in the season. And yeah, he's had a couple of bad ones, but he's got an ERA of 2.70. Not bad for a reliever, because those numbers can balloon in a heartbeat. Piamps, fantastic. 1.91 earned run average. If you look at all setup guys in baseball, he's going to be up there. And he's not been setting up all year long. The 8th inning guy, I call the setup guy. But in the last 3 weeks or so, he's been in that role with Strzelecki down in the minor leagues. Really good. Hobie Milner. Yeah, Hobie's had some inherited runs come across, but I liked what he's doing as of late. Elvis Peguero, 3.09 earned run average. Really, really good. Yeah, the Brewers in that Uribe, man, got to see a little bit of him that last week of the season. He's something special. But no room out of the bullpen for him right now, because guys are coming out of the bullpen and doing their jobs. Okay, can the bullpen keep it up in the second half of the season? I have my doubts, like I always do with the Milwaukee Brewers. Can the offense? The offense can't be much worse than this. We're at the halfway point, and in May I was cutting them a little bit of slack, but they kept on trending. I mean, you got these around the horn, this might be one of the worst hitting offenses of all time. Again, your first baseman hitting 213, your second baseman hitting 207, your shortstop hitting 213, your third baseman hitting 229. Outfield, your starting right fielder, 238, 216, center field 212, Yelich 284. Yelich's 284 is like he's batting 360 compared to the other guys. All right, big series with the Reds coming up. And kicking off a 15-game stretch against difficult teams. 6 of those against the Reds, 6 against the Braves. Burns will pitch in the opener on Friday night against Ashcroft. Peralta pitches against Abbott. The Brewers gave Abbott his first loss last Friday. And Hauser against Lively. Hauser gets another crack at it in the 6-man rotation. All right, everybody. And, of course, the Brewers and Reds. You get it 6:10 coming up Friday night on SiriusXM, the SXM app. Search Brewers. Thank you, everybody, for making Locked On Brewers the #1 podcast on the internet. Hit us on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the sites. And, of course, your devices at home. Your devices, the one with the A, which I have all over my house, say play Locked On Brewers, and they'll do it. They'll download that latest episode in the morning, and you can hear every one of our episodes bright and early while you're doing whatever you're doing in the morning. But download us on those various sites, and, of course, on YouTube, Locked On Brewers. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that little bell. It'll alert you every time we drop an episode. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I really believe this second half is going to be real fun. Tough 15 games, though. Got to go 8-7, I believe, in that stretch. I'm Chuck Freeman. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Brewers on the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.